I'm Johnny Lieberman, and you're watching LMP. What does LMP stand for?
Late Night Play
Oh,
Set.
yeah, that's right. I've been on there. Yeah, good show. You should like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Late night, woo! Let's get some subbies!
What's up, you guys? Your churros were a hit. They're gone. Killed it. Nice job. Love the empty life. What's up? This is what it's all about right here. Right? Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. What's up, you guys?
I may or may not have just been letting an Amazon person in. I guess we'll know in a second whether or not I just let somebody in. Well, I definitely let somebody in. Hopefully it's the Amazon person for us. Okay, so we need to talk about the bubbles. I think I used them all in our little promo for...
Oh, no.
No. Oh, God, the whole system's crumbling. All right, let me change my glasses. And say hi, neighbor. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Late Night Playset. My name is Jay Ryan. The lady to my right is Nicole Ryan. And tonight is Tuesday, June 29th, 2021. And I told you who we were. Do I do anything else when I say this? I feel like I skipped something.
That sounds right.
Gotta turn the echo off. Kill that shit. Okay, all right. It's a great night. It's Tradecraft Tuesday. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry we are late. Our guest is here. Let me tell you about him. He's an artist. He is a driver. We know him as a driver for sure. He's an automotive journalist. Got his own YouTube channel, and you've definitely seen his videos. You know, the only thing, and I should have done this ahead of time, I've never actually said your last name out loud before. So I've been saying Basem Wasef, but I don't know that that's correct.
Basem Wasef.
Is that right?
Close, very close, yeah. You're like 99% there.
Oh, I thought I said exactly what you said. So, like, all right, well, we're close. We're close. Anyway, Basem is here, and we're really excited because we met you through somebody else at first?
Probably Johnny Lieberman, I think.
For sure. Okay.
Yeah.
But then Breakfast Club ever since,
And then
right?
every other Friday for me, yeah.
Yeah, and then I've definitely seen you at every other event in town that I'm at. You're there.
Exactly.
So okay, all right, great. Well, you're going to be in here. He's going to be in here in a few minutes, and that's going to be fun for me and you. In the meantime, I've got a lot of old shit to talk about, but it's all great, fun stuff. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Mentally awesome, physically whatever.
So, status quo for you, nothing new. Anything worse than usual, or just the general amount of pain and fatigue that you're in every day?
That's normal. But
I'm
I
Johnny
feel mentally
Lieberman.
stronger today, so I'll take it.
Level up kind of thing, like
A
upstairs.
little bit.
That's huge. You know, if you feel it, it is. Whatever's going on in your life, you got to get there first, and then you end up seeing it. That's what I believe anyway. Spending half my life going, oh, one day when, and as soon as then. And then, one day you realize that, as John Mayer says, there is no such thing as the real world, just whatever. You know that song. I think it's amazing after that because you get to write your own future once you believe it's possible. And I feel like that's what's been going on with you lately. And I think that part of that might even be your wellness. I don't know that you can, go run a marathon, but I think you can probably improve on what you got going on now currently.
I think so too. I'm stretching more. The yoga shit you showed me is really helping, I think.
Alignment is a really important thing for all of us in all of the ways, physical, spiritual, whatever you believe.
Yeah, I agree.
For you. Awesome. All right, Tradecraft Tuesday. Let's get that fired up so that we're at least medicating you in the meantime.
Thank you.
What's up, everybody? Rob from CZ is here right now. So, that's probably a different Rob. CZ is not our Rob from Crew. Boy, that was confusing. You almost snuck in here, buddy. I don't know if I have time for you today. Your options in the A or B category today are Ghost Train Haze. These are both sativas, and Lift Me Up. Tangy X Jack Herrera. Now, you know that one from previous. These are both courtesy of Sticky Vape and our friends and neighbors over across the street there at Sticky Vape. Tradecraft Farms and the GT Ventures guys. So which of these would you like to choose?
The first one you said, I forget the name.
Which was Ghost Train Haze. Oh, it looks good. It looks old and scary.
Yeah.
Looks like the train we used to take through New England there. You see that?
Oh, yeah. That's got Murder Show written all over it.
Oh, no way. You think so? I think those old ghost trains are way before murder shows.
I think I'm
Unless they have a
jaundiced in my head.
murder show about like Jack the Ripper or something like
There
that.
is, but
Oh, okay.
I'll move past that.
Fire it up and feel good. Get that going. And all right. So the stuff I wanted to bring up, it's all really quick, but it's just some of it gave me a real tickle. One of which was an old colleague of yours posted a. Is that better? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. It smells nice. That one smells nice.
Yeah.
An old colleague of yours posted a photo the other day, along with a beautiful essay, pretty much attributing you and how great you were to work with in the old days, and how much of a inspirational spirit you are these days in your current life and everything. It was just somebody who really loves the shit out of you and wasn't afraid to say it publicly. So I shared it because I was like, this is awesome. And the picture was great with you and Serena and Pierce. And I remember that day. I mean, you sent me that picture, like texted it to me. I remember.
Yeah. She found a tennis court like above like Grand Central or something. It was amazing.
Yeah. But you. The stuff you used to put together that you really don't think much about because you did it 1,000 different times with 1,000 different people. But it's very impressive to the rest of us.
I'll take it. It's so fun to go back through those memories.
I am going to go out on a limb here and say for everybody that we all would like to hear them, be it in your book or in an essay form or whatever. Your blog is lovely. We want more.
Thanks.
And if you read your comments on your blog, and jump in here if you agree, unanimously, you're a great writer. Oh, you're so eloquent. Oh, you're way with words. You paint a picture. I mean, I think, I told you when I first read it, I was like, you write like you're trying to impress somebody. Like you're some fun like Ivy Leaguer. Then you're like, make sure everybody knows I went to Harvard. But the truth is, that's also how you speak. That's just your natural way. So I think it's very natural. And I think that you telling your stories is not only going to be great for other people to hear, but I think it might be good for you, a little bit.
I think
Get some of that stuff out, and then remember some good stuff, too, because you're swimming in shit these days. It'd be nice to have some nice stuff to think about.
It's a mess, but I'm on that track going forward. Old colleagues have reached out, and I may be doing some person. Like, it's so weird.
That makes me really, really happy.
Yeah. Can't wait.
The truth is, you have so much value that you still bring, and then what other people probably don't realize until they get to know you now is so much more than you used to because of the perspective shift. You didn't lose any of that old shit. That's all still there. But then also, whoa, you can move the camera around now too.
I'm doing that. I used to be very focused on like how to
Correct.
win, and now I'm focused on being nicer.
It's the process. You know, there's an old adage. It's not whether you win or lose. It's how you play the game.
I've heard that.
You were always
I
so
ignored
focused.
that.
I don't fucking win. Gotta win. Winning. You got that tiger blood in you.
Nightmare.
All right. So the Serena Williams, and there's a beautiful picture. She, I don't think she's ever looked prettier than she does in that picture. I think she looks very beautiful and feminine and just so genuinely happy. Like she genuinely looks happy in that picture. It was at a good time in her life too, if I recall.
Yeah.
Things were good. That was going on. And then she's in the press again because you heard she didn't do one tournament and then she got injured out of another. So I think it's because she's thinking about you. That's what I think.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, next from my Past Lives Pavilion, an article that I was interviewed about like fucking a year ago, 6 months easily a year ago. I feel like it might have been before COVID even. Do you remember?
I think it was before COVID.
Anyway, when I was a kid, you all know I used to work at 30 Rock when I had that. It started as an internship, and then I worked there as a kid. But I worked on the Rosie O'Donnell show, and it's like the anniversary of the Rosie O'Donnell show or whatever, 25th anniversary. So Vulture did a big article about it, like a long lead, and I was one of the dozen staff members they interviewed about it. And so I'm quoted in this article. But overall, what I want you to know is like, it's a really good, fair article. So I don't think you should go like. This is really well written, and you should go read. No, there's nothing like that. But if you have any general interest in Rosie O'Donnell and or talk shows and stuff like that, it's a pretty cool behind the scenes inside baseball kind of a look.
And it's a good article.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience, like it's fair but really well done.
It's kind of embarrassing. One of my quotes is kind of embarrassing because of just the nature of it. It's fine. But the thing that I found ironic and kind of cool about it was like, even though it was kind of silly and embarrassing, my quote specifically gets corroborated by Rosie O'Donnell, where she's like, well, he wasn't wrong. You know, like that, you know, it was kind of cool just as a back and forth. Made me feel part of it because I was barely part of that show. You know what I mean? I was a little fucking production assistant, excuse my language. I was a big sponge. I took it all in probably more than the other crew members, but like integral part of the crew? No. No, sir. Oh, Instagram, what's going on over here? You guys are blowing up. There's Cruising to Wellness. What's up, man? There's Rob. There was another Rob CZ before, and I was like, maybe that could be the other Rob. How many Rob CZs are there? Holy crap. People are just cruising into that healthy second half of the new year, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. All right. I got to move along here. There was one more thing, though. What was it? Oh, congratulations to our buddy Dwight over at Carpe Gear, who was in town the other day. We didn't get to see him because we were doing a show that day and we had a lot of stuff earlier. But there was a big event over at the Peterson for the anniversary of the car that Rod Emery restored, the 46 car. The car that is not this one, but that Dwight has done a tremendous amount of work with. It was the anniversary of that car winning Le Mans. So we saw it at the Peterson the other day when we were just there. But they did a whole big event with it where it was like they drove it out and the whole thing. And Dwight came to town and launched his new book. And it was just a really big deal. And huge shout out and congrats to Dwight. I'm really long-winded and verbose there, but I love our friends who have supported us from the beginning, so to speak. And I'm really happy to see awesome things happening for you. So it's great.
That's great.
Congrats on the new book. I don't think it's available yet, but it's going to be available very, very soon. So go to the Carpe Gear website and order. Yes. All right. Wrapping it up here. That's all right. That's all right. You know, I forget. We're actually not as behind as I thought we were because we started late. It's not actually. I mean, it is 5:20 here in the PM. That part hasn't changed. But we're not. We're only 12 minutes into the thing instead of. Yeah. Okay.
20.
We're good. Do I have a thing for this? We used to have a thing for this. It's been a long time. Hang on. Do we have a thing? Yeah, there it is. Look, LNP viewer mail. Yeah. You gotta have a card. It means nothing. And the podcast audience is like, what the fuck? Get on with it. All these visual aids nobody needs. Oh, gift receipt. Okay. I hope you enjoy your little Luft as much as Hayden does. Sending good vibes only to you both. Enjoy. Who's this from?
Is that from Crucible?
Good on ya. It's from Carissable,
That's
exactly, with a nice
amazing.
little thing here. Thank you, Carissable. So I know what this is, but you need to figure it out. I think you should open it. As much of it as you can anyway. I saw that it was tissue paper. I figured you could get through at least that, right?
I can hopefully do
All right,
that
awesome.
still.
Now, Carissable didn't send this in packages. She bought it for us, and this is how it comes from the people, so.
I did the end.
Yeah.
That's super neat.
All right. If you, in a second, you'll be able to tell what it is. If you remember previously, for a while here, we did a Back to the Future show with Danny Bodkin, and so we had the DeLorean on the desk, and I recently took that away because I don't have any association that I like anymore with the Back to the Future and the time machine. So I got rid of it. But then all of a sudden it was like, well, we need something on the desk, and I mentioned something the other day, just joking around or whatever, and our friend and viewer Carissable over here saw it and chimed in, and she was like, what color do you want? Do they have yellow? I don't know. And they didn't have yellow, but we looked at them, and they had green, which looked pretty good. And have you seen these before in person?
No.
Isn't that adorable?
Awesome.
Here, check it out. It's not fragile. It's for kids to play with, so don't worry about it.
I'm fragile.
It's true. Isn't this cool?
That
Look
is
at it.
so
Yes, you got
cool.
one. We got one thanks to Carissable, who I hope is here. Carissable, are you here?
Thank you. This is so neat.
Isn't it? So, and then I think what it does is it lives right over here. There you go.
That's
How's that
awesome.
look? And it's in the frame, and it goes with my blue mug here. And your shoes. So there you go. Some viewer mail.
Very cool.
In the old days, viewer mail for Dave used to be people writing in and asking questions. And I wouldn't mind that, but we have them here, so they generally just ask the questions. So our viewer mail is like, here, send us cool gifts. All right. Well, that's actually not true, because a lot of time it's giveaway stuff. A lot of time it's stuff to give right back out. So, but not. I'm keeping this. Sorry, this was for us. We're keeping this. it's mine now. I'm keeping it. It's so cool. Look at the little red light bar in the back. It's so close to Porsche without being Porsche. They went concave instead of convex, or is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. All these little things so that it's not quite a Fuchs wheel, but I mean, gosh, isn't that just beautiful?
Yeah.
So I love it. Thanks, Carissable. All right, moving on to the GVBC stuff, to the GVBC. Go on over to Dual Shift. Today, you can get all of this stuff because it's all in stock. However, starting Friday, you'll be able to get more stuff. Confirm with David today. More stuff coming up. I don't want to say what it is, though. You just got to go shopping on Friday.
You have to find it.
Yeah, it'll be after Breakfast Club, because whatever's coming out will be, he's going to post about it on Thursday, and you'll be able to get it first at Breakfast Club on Friday, and then after Breakfast Club, it'll go online.
I'd love that.
Yeah. Well, that way, like, the people who are there and started the whole thing get the shit first.
I love it.
Yeah, it makes it. By the way, that's all David. David knows all that stuff. He's so smart. He's so smart. Like, all the packaging and all the little cool shit that you unwrap when you're unboxing and whatever, that's all him. All the touchability. all that stuff. All that stuff that Apple was always so good at.
Yeah.
You remember how, like, back nowadays everybody makes a thing about unboxing, but back in the what's the movie? Is it Love Actually, where he's wrapping up the gift and then put some cinnamon sticks in there,
Mr. Bean.
Everything became such it's like an event. It's such an ordeal to unbox something, but it was like when you first got an app, it just felt like quality. Apple products in the beginning, and anything on Rodeo Drive, like what's the name of Bruce's family? Geary's? Is it Geary's on Beverly? When you go in there and you watch them, I've never bought anything there, but when you go in there and you watch them like wrap something up, it's just like that with all of the special accoutrement and let's get the roll out.
Every day is Christmas.
Yeah, big time. Every day is Christmas, he said. Exactly. So huge thanks to Carissable. Oh shit, I didn't have the audience up there. God damn it. That's all right. Huge thanks to Carissable, who I don't think is here, which is... Oh, yeah, she is. Yes, awesome, guys. There you go. All right. This is all happening in slow motion today. I didn't get my breaths and whatever right before the show. We're going to talk about... We have to. I guess we showed everybody. Can we talk about what car you brought here today?
I think we have to.
Okay, cool. Because I'm kind of excited about it. I used to love those.
Tell me about it. Me too.
Okay, cool. Stay tuned for another 3 minutes when we get our guest in here. All right, so what do? I got the Serena Williams is out of the way, Rosie O'Donnell out of the way, and Carpe Gear out of the way. I showed you a good best practice. Oh, okay, GVBC. One real thing, one quick thing that is I wanted to say. It's important to me because it's from my heart. A couple shows ago, I poured my heart out with this whole thing about GVBC. I'm concerned about what. I just want to say thank you to freaking everybody who let me say whatever it was, which was not an ego-driven thing. It was just more of let's all try to respect the crest and enjoy this thing together. But everybody let me just say my thing without thinking I was getting all preachy or whatever. They knew it would blow over like immediately. And I just want to say that's a testament to all of the people who come up to GVBC. Thank you for being so awesome and for being like real human beings with humanity and compassion and not somebody who just simply wants to troll and be like, but you said, it's not a group drive. I'm like, no, I'm not saying you shouldn't be. I'm saying the thing isn't a group drive. You should have your group drive. Come on. I mean, that's the whole... Part of the delight is like, every once in a while there'd be like the 914 day and they'd all come up, or the 356 day, the Model T day when all those Model Ts came up. So anyway, I just think everybody's so great. Greg Grumberg's here. What's up, Greg? And thank you so much for that. I know. Sometimes I want to virtually hug everybody because I'm so touched with. I guess I don't know what the hell was wrong with my childhood, but I'm still trying to. You know what I mean? Like, good job. All right, what are you driving today? Friday for real. Okay, so the YouTube channel is up. Go follow What Are You Driving Today? It's up. There just aren't any videos public until Friday, but it's actually happening this Friday. The channel is built. It's up. It is being, what do you call it? Congregated of whatever you call that, when all the shit's being uploaded currently. So
That's
there will be a real thing on Friday. So What Are You Driving Today is a new YouTube channel. Go check it out. And that's that. The East Coast feed I will do on Thursday because that would just be rude. Make sure you get here at a certain time. We'll need you about a half an hour after that. I guess that's how real shows work.
That's how it goes.
Again, I'm still worried about, but what if they don't like me? Oh, God. Let's do some commercials here, pay some bills, and get our guest in here. What's up, Greg Grumberg? I am so happy to see you here. I got to come over to your place this week or next week and check it out. What are you laughing at?
Just you.
Yeah, well, other people don't know that we text all the time. So, like, we texted. He went to Malibu this weekend with the boys and the truck, or at least his oldest, and the 96 Bronco. He's got a 96 Bronco and a 69 Bronco. Both movie cars that he bought off of shows that he was on. Anyway, he's just the best. And I know nothing about Star Wars. I think maybe this is why we're friends. I genuinely like him because of who he is. I know nothing about Star Wars. I don't know shit about Star Trek. I never saw Star is Born. All those movies he's in, like we worked together on Felicity. I never watched Alias. I didn't watch Heroes. I watched Lost, but he's the pilot in Lost. That's like he pointed out one episode.
Barely in it.
Yeah. So like we're just genuinely friends because we're just fucking weird guys like who get along. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Let's get serious here. Come on, we gotta fucking get good at this. Asking for money from people and stuff. Oh, yeah. Huge news on Yellow Car 2.0. I guess we'll talk about it on Thursday. Huge news on Yellow Car 2.0. It's going to be great. Everybody wants to get involved, so it's really great. We've got stuff coming from all over the place. It's going to be really fun. Yellow Car 2.0. Stay tuned. They say all that separates men and boys is the coverage for their toys. St. Clair Insurance has coverage for your toys. In this case, we're talking about the collector cars. Those are the toys we're talking about today. And collector car values are all over the place. Good business is going to get your car valued. Seeing what it's worth these days, because it's not what it was worth yesterday. I guarantee that. Once you've done that, you're going to want to check out your car insurance. If you like where you're at, by all means, but it makes a lot of sense to at least investigate and see what else is out there. If I were you, I would check out St. Clair Insurance. You're going to want to go to coverageforyourtoys.com and check out St. Clair Insurance. Are you ready? Coverageforyourtoys.com. Coverageforyourtoys.com.
Coverageforyourtoys.com.
You're the best at that. It looks like I do all the heavy lifting, but the truth is that's a lot of work for you. So it's really good. You do such a good job. All right. Hey, if Rob is still here from Cruising to Wellness, need a lift lately? Cruise into the second half of 2021 with a great attitude, a good mood, and a very healthy new year. I don't know. Use promo code Late Night for 20% off your order at cruisintowellness.com. Cruisintowellness.com.
Cruisintowellness.com.
The cruise is with a Z. 94.7 The Way. Did it get into smooth jazz? K-Light. Yeah, I heard it too. 94.3. Down here at the bottom of the hour, 5:30 p.m. Gordon Lightfoot coming up in a little bit. After that, Yanni. Live at the Acropolis. I I made sure we pressed record tonight, right? Because this is one of those days where I would have forgotten something really, really simple. Like, are the amplifiers on? Is everything good? And then my last one, which is my absolute favorite, and you all know it. Hi, this is Jay Ryan from Late Night Playset, reminding you to please like, subscribe, and comment below. This feeds the internet algorithm, and eventually us as well. Please be a pal, like, subscribe, and comment below. It'll be fire! All this smoke denotes that there's a fire under my desk from all of you liking, subscribing, and talking to your friends about our little show. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Okay. Now I have a real thing to do. We have to do a real show here, and I lost the whole thing here. Okay. So embarrassing. You know what? Let's take a quick break and listen to these words from our friends at Oh So Delicious Hot Sauce, as long as I still have it programmed in here, which I do. And we'll get our guest Basem in here, and we're going to have a conversation about the car he brought today, as well as you've had some cool Porsches up on the mountain lately, and everything else. Basem Wasef in the playset right after this.
Oh, it's so delicious. It's the hot sauce made by bears. Garlic and serrano mixed with love and care. You can put it on your eggs, pour it on your rice. It's great on a leg, it's better on a slice. It's oh so delicious. It's the hot sauce made by bears. Oh, so delicious hot sauce. Great on everything except oatmeal.
Get your bottle today at ohsodelicious.org. $1 from every bottle sold goes to the National Military Family Association.
Ridiculous what you've done here. I kind of don't believe it. I kind of almost don't believe what you've done here. All right, well, here's the interlude music, which means that we are back. You get a microphone for you. Pull that over to you close.
Hello.
Yeah.
Testing.
The smoke will clear in a moment. This is the first
Little
time
ambiance. I like it.
This is the first time I've seen the new green Luft here on the desk. Maybe we should, I don't know how it should go. Maybe you can help me with that.
Front 3/4, baby.
Do you want your water in here, or are you going to get parched?
I will grab my water.
All right. And we'll just stay here. How you been? What's new?
So much.
So much?
Right.
I'm really happy to have you here, man.
Thank you for having me.
You're a new friend who's kind of come out of nowhere, kind of, sort of, for us, and I hope that you don't take that in a bad way. It's just you weren't in our purview, and then all of a sudden we see you every week now, and you're like our friend that's just a regular in our lives.
It's been a great thing. The Friday morning thing for me has been so refreshing because before this whole thing blew over, before the pandemic, I was gone so much. I was traveling a lot. And to be home and to have a sort of, it's almost like a routine in a good way, was a thing. It was really important. So it's
like
nice.
Even the weekends weren't, I don't know, for us, the weeks were always kind of all over the place, and then the weekends were the tide that binds. It sort of was like, everything. That's when our routines came in. During COVID, that, like, literally everything went away.
Yeah.
And then the Friday and then actually the Malibu Sunday, the two things we used to do actually were the only two things that maintained throughout, which is kind of crazy. And again, very lucky for us.
Yeah, pretty off.
How was COVID for you? Not to like make it all about that, but
No, I mean,
we met during COVID, and the first 5 or 6 times it was like, oh, sunglasses, mask,
right.
no mask.
You're with, I know who you are.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you're our friend already.
Totally. I know it was difficult for a lot of people, but for me personally, I was very fortunate because I got to really reconnect with a lot of things that were important to me that I wasn't able to. Like I said, I was traveling a lot, so being at home with my family, I've got a 9-year-old. The cliches about growing up so fast are so true that being able to be there day in and day out and have that rhythm of just like watching them grow up and taking care of the house and doing all these things and just being around was a real silver lining for me.
They say if you're not there, right? It's like you don't get, I guess it's like somebody else seeing your kid every 6 months or whatever, like, holy shit, another 2 feet, or whatever. And but
like
when you're there
week.
every day, you get to, so it slows down time a tiny bit.
They really do. Like developmentally, it happens so quickly that you blink and it's different, So it's totally true.
Because they're rewriting their programming constantly, right?
They're always learning. They look different from like week to week. It's nuts. Like seriously, just like the physical changes, let alone the growth psychologically and emotionally. It's a thing.
I've always thought about the physical, and it's the psychological and intelligent. Like it's that that area that is where I'm like focusing now. And I'm like, oh wow, I see kids are fun because you get to like you get to feed them whatever information you think is good and stuff. I don't know how it is to be a parent. Was this your first one?
It is our first and only one, one and done. But it's the most like the most gratifying part is the interaction. Like little babies are cute and everything, but they're blobs. Like
They don't
give
anything.
you anything.
You do everything.
You
They don't
give
do anything.
them their wants and needs, bottomless pits of wants and needs. And it's it's fascinating, but once they start to give back, that's when it really comes alive. It's the cool part.
And then, how old did you say?
He's 9.
Oh God! So 9. I mean, not only does he have a personality, he's got his own everything, his own life, his own.
Yeah.
I mean, is he driving yet?
For sure. I've tried that, believe me, but I don't know if he's there yet.
Does he have any interest in cars and driving?
He's
a lot of the
way
kids
more,
these days don't give a shit.
It's interesting. I thought he would, but he's way more interested in rockets and space and traveling to other planets and.
Is that what kids are doing now? Is that what the
I
future?
think
Is that what the interest
It
is?
started early with him with the Apollo missions of all things. Like he was all into the retro Saturn V, going to the moon thing. Like he fell into that rabbit hole really deep, which I was excited about.
Was there an anniversary or something
And
significant?
that did happen, but it was self-motivated. He kind of latched onto that for a while, but and then like he discovered SpaceX and everything that's happening now.
Current stuff.
Yeah, and he got into it, and it sparks the imagination. It's just like get me out of here.
Wow. Well, I don't know your wife, but I know that I watched your videos that you sent me today. And you guys are so funny together, but she strikes me as somebody who might be a personality on her own. What does your wife do?
So she is an artist.
Okay.
She paints in oil, and she paints from life, which has been a little bit challenging in the last year. She was a costume designer in a former life, and she was in the Costume Designers Guild, and that has evolved into her position there as the communications director.
At the
she's
Guild?
Still at the Guild, yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Local 892. Yeah, you probably know those guys.
Well, I do, but more so than that. Our guards, Red, are the other half of what are you driving today? His wife is a costumer. I mean, she's a costume supervisor. Last Looks is her real name. Alex Silbert is her working.
I will have to
name.
ask.
Yeah, no, she's
Yes.
very active within the union.
Very cool.
Oh, that's cool. I'm sure you guys know each other, but
Yeah,
your
so
wife has
she-
come up before, hasn't she?
She has come
To Breakfast Club?
once, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, she
That's more than
is-
most wives.
Well, true.
Mine's there every week, and David's is there every other, but that's it.
But yeah, she loves. She's such a creative person. She's an artist in the true sense of the word. She was she is creative director for the magazine as well, and she was the editor in chief for 8 years for the magazine. And seeing the way she connects
The Guild magazine.
the Guild magazine, seeing the way she connects visuals and storytelling to layout and profiles and words, she's way more talented than I am.
Oh, come on.
She's a whole.
That's
other
the right
deal.
answer, by the way, regardless.
know.
That's the right thing to say.
Always marry up. That's what I always say.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry for you. I mean, I did. I married up. Sorry for you.
So did I. It always looks different. The grass is always greener.
That is wisdom. That is true.
All I know is I connect with you energetically, and back to I'm grateful you're here. Where the actual interview should start, I have no idea. Because the truth is, I don't know that much about you. I know that you know a lot about cars. I know that you're always in a different press car. I know that I watched some of your YouTube videos today. They're entertaining and well produced. I mean, like, you check all the boxes. But how did you get here?
How did I get here? Here is a really vague place. Like, I do a lot of stuff. It's weird, Like, I love automotive journalism. I should have brought books. I've written 3 books.
Oh,
should have brought
author.
you books.
Author as
yes,
well.
I am an author as well. I do marketing, communications consulting, and I direct videos as well. So I'm really stimulated by it. It often comes back to the story and really good visuals. And I love visual creative storytelling. So it often comes back to that.
I can see that in your videos.
Yeah,
You take care in places that I would as well, but other people don't give a crap.
Yeah, you got to make it look good. I mean, there's something for everyone out there. Like, I think there's a world of like, I will never be Doug DeMuro, but he clicks for so many people. Like,
He's a great everyman. Yeah.
Yes. And
He's almost like the car guy for the non-enthusiast.
Oh, everybody, who find out what I do for a living.
Do you know
they're like,
Doug
do you know Doug? Ever met him? Have you ever met him?
Good Lord.
Which
Do you
is
remember when it was
great.
before even, the YouTube channel was just starting, I remember.
It's like
amazing.
it's like Drive to Survive on Netflix. Like, grandmas are into that show, and like
True.
F1 has experienced a revitalization in the States because that show is so compelling. I think that's like powerful. I think it's really important to recognize that we're in a little bubble and our community is great and I love it, but it's very like focused, and it's focused on the details and the stuff we geek out about, and we get into that. But like when something resonates like with the broad population, I think that's like so exciting,
Yeah, how does it, do you think it's predictable? Is it pattern? Does it just happen randomly? Because I think of like Magnus, when Magnus's video came out. I mean, he was just a weird Porsche guy, and Porsches were just Porsches. It wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
But everything kind of hit at the same time, and then boom, my mother knows who Magnus Walker is,
It's lightning in a bottle. I think it's chemistry. I think it's things that you can't rationalize. I think that's why it's fascinating to me. It's because it's not an empirical number. It's not like, a marketing team says, well, we've got to tick all these boxes, because then it's lost.
That's the
You
magic
lose
of
it.
it.
Yeah.
But so then why do market teams still try to do all that box checking and not rely on like, oh, they're an artist, just let them figure it out?
Yeah, somebody's got to make those big salaries and justify it,
Oh,
right?
I see. All right, I get it. Two sides to every coin.
No,
I get it.
there is. I do that too, and there is an art and a science to it. So I'm not diminishing it. I'm joking, but you know what I mean when you get that emotional feeling, like I can't explain this scientifically, but this really works for me. Like this really like resonates.
I do. I live there, but I can't make other people see it so easily. I do my own thing, and then they go, oh, that's so great. Why is it so great? And then they try to recreate it, and they're like, well, I did all the same stuff. How come it's not so great?
Yeah, but you're telling your truth, and that's all we can do.
That's it, because I look at my stuff and I'm like, technically it's awful, but it's definitely whatever my little story was that day, or whatever it happens to be, and that's what I tend to be drawn toward in content. And I feel like what you were doing the other day was very obviously produced, but somehow it just had kind of like it had a very relatable. It had kind of what I'm talking about that you can't quantify, and everything you just said, I guess. I'll shut up now.
Plan, don't overplan, right? It's finding that groove. It's finding whatever is working for you, and just and figuring it out. And it's never linear either. I don't think it's always like, oh, well, this is clear what I have to do here. Like I wouldn't have made videos with my wife if it wasn't for the pandemic and being stuck with a press car, not being able to go anywhere. I was like, okay, well, let's just throw some GoPros in and talk.
Is that true?
That's how that started. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. It was just like, you know what? I was, in Europe like twice a month, like traveling to drive cars remotely. And then they started sending cars to me here. And I thought, well, let's just make use of this.
Absolutely.
No,
it's a great idea. I love the I love that it wasn't a concept. It came from a different constraint.
Yeah.
I love that kind of creativity.
Yeah.
Oh, we did this because we couldn't do that. And you love it.
Well, pandemic has been great for a lot of people in that respect. I think it's reset how we look at things, how we prioritize our time, how we live our lives. I mean, I'm going to take so much away from this, and hopefully I won't be traveling as much as I used to be. But
have you changed? Have you had anything you've had to change because, and then you plan to implement currently in your life because you've noticed, oh, this is better. I like not traveling as much. Or
everybody was telling me, especially my wife was telling me how great sleep is. And
have you tried it yet?
I'm getting into it, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
Oh man,
it's pretty sweet. It doesn't always work as planned. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night, you're like, oh boy, why am I not going back to sleep? But it's so good for you. That's the thing. It's like these little things make a big difference in our lives.
Yeah. Did you, you're hysterical, but you're very funny. It's totally true. The funny thing about sleep too is I find that if you don't count on it, you'll get it. But if you're counting on X amount of whatever, will never come to you, no matter what. Like everything will come to you, but
it's this Zen thing.
Yeah, it is.
And that's a challenge. I mean, let alone like the biology of it, because there's like hormones that have to enter and leave your body, and your core temperature has to drop, and all these parameters have to be met for sound sleep. And then there's the whole other psychological aspect, which is it's a mind fuck.
Yeah. Also, what the fuck is it, right? Like, where are we going? What is that? Where did that movie come from?
Yeah, why should I let go? Why?
That's right. Every time I'm about to hit the ground, I always wake up. I don't get it. Oh my gosh. It's funny how we're all the same. We really are. We all are so individual, but yet we're all the same.
Yeah, there's these parameters that, like, you know, we move through life with these commonalities, and we don't really always think about it or put a finger on it. But, you know, like, we do have these needs that they're universal. I mean, you can't argue them.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's not do that. Let's not do that. I know you through cars. Let's try to do a real interview here. I'm sorry, I like you so much that I just want to talk to my friend, which are sometimes great, but sometimes the comments are just like, would you get on with like whatever the interview is? So I know you through cars. Why are cars important to you? How did you get into cars?
cars are one of those inexplicable things for me. And, you know, I was told by my parents that when I was really young, I would sing Happy Birthday to my Matchbox cars. And just like sense of occasion for my little toys. Like, it was always there. So it's really hard to once again, quantify why or how. But I never really imagined that I could make it my life until relatively later in life. So I worked in film and TV when I was a college grad out of UCLA. I worked at Disney ABC Cable Networks as a creative executive, and I know.
Wow. Were you on the lot, or were you a prospect?
And I was at 3800 Alameda.
Wow. Amazing.
In the channel building. So I did that for a while, and I started editing independent features, and I started doing this stuff. And I flight of fantasy, I answered this Craigslist ad that was looking for an automotive writer, and I was like, oh, it'd just be fun little, hobby, fun little side job.
Just throw a line out. Why not?
Exactly. I was like, oh, I do love cars. There's no denying it. I haven't gotten over it yet, and I'm 20 whatever years old. Long story short,
Still in his 20s.
That's
awesome.
I'm getting there. Long story short, like, I got this assignment to write about high-end convertibles for a local luxury lifestyle magazine, and within a week, I had probably $500,000 worth of cars on loan in my garage to write about. And I was like, okay, this is a trip. Like, wow. I couldn't comprehend like how they just tossed me the keys. And then I got invited to drive this was the 996 GT3
Wow.
at the track launch in Virginia, VIR.
It was a big deal back then, though, because it was the first GT3. This was like, we're getting back to the R. This was the new RS Carrera, basically, or Carrera RS.
Yeah,
it was a huge deal.
And I didn't understand how it worked. So Porsche called me up and said, "Hey, how'd you like to come drive it?" And I was like, "Oh, that sounds wonderful. Let me just call my editor to make sure that they're okay with paying to get me there because I need." And they're like,
"No,
we got that." No, really? Okay. And you show up at the bar like the first dinner and you're ready to pay for it. Like, no, we got that. Hurley Haywood was sitting there with me. He's like, no, we got. I was like, okay, let me tip. He's like, we got that too.
It's all, yeah.
So it was like, this world.
Yeah.
It was a dream. And then I flew for the first time to drive something in Europe for work, which was the 997.
Oh, wow.
So I drove it on the Autobahn, and it was a trip.
You really jumped in with both feet into it's not like us. And it started with the Geo Metro, and then eventually we worked our way.
Knock on wood, thankfully, I didn't start with Consumer Reports. So I started at a pretty solid
that's a good point. It was a lifestyle brand magazine already.
Footing.
Yeah.
They were high-end. They wanted the best stuff, and that was very lucky for me because I've been very fortunate. I've done a lot of cool stuff.
Shit. Well, don't let me stop you. Sorry, I interrupt a lot. But
it's
go ahead.
just no. It just kind of continued. Like I was on this train of.
Oh, I see your point. All of a sudden, that line took off, and this is what you're doing now.
This is took over. Yeah, and then I was like, well, why do I love editing, but why do I want to do that when I could do this? Why do I want to direct stuff when I could do this? And I've crossed over with both on a few elements, and I worked at Edmunds for a year producing video, and I've done some automotive video stuff that I don't really cross with my journalistic stuff, so that's a whole other ball of wax. So we'll stick to this topic, not that topic.
You have like a consulting business on the side?
Yeah, we'll talk after
Awesome.
we'll talk after the mic is hot.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a rabbit hole, man. It's like once and the industry is so great that they have all of these events and resources and opportunities for people to create content that it makes it easy when you're a storyteller to get, whether it's the driver's seat, get into the driver's seat or do things that you wouldn't have had the opportunity to do. I drove in the Mille Miglia in 2018.
That's amazing.
I would not,
Bro, come
seriously,
on.
Like,
what were you in? What were you driving?
300 SL Gullwing.
Oh my God.
So yeah, like I would have never been able to do that before. The cost of entry is just ridiculous for that kind of stuff. So like I was very fortunate. very fortunate.
Yeah, and right place, right time, right guy. Like, there's a lot to all of those things. Fortunate as well, but I mean, you got yourself to that level of fortune, so to speak. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to not take any credit. I find that some people is like, oh yeah, and it's just, I'm one of those people who's really lucky. It's like, yeah, and you put forth a lot of effort, and you did take the chance, and
I will
answer
give
the
you
thing.
that much,
and then
and
you
give myself that much.
You obviously put out content that was good enough that they were like, oh well, let's do more with him because we like this.
That's not untrue. I will give you that much.
I feel better.
And then the books just kind of happened. I wrote a book about legendary motorcycles that were basically all the textbook motorcycles, like the Harley and Easy Rider, all these iconic motorcycles, and they did one about legendary race cars. And then I did one about supercars called Speed Read Supercar. That's kind of everything you ever wanted to know about supercars. So supercars have become sort of like a niche that I've been fortunate enough to dive into, and I've driven a lot of very fast, expensive toys. I just got back from Italy last week to drive the SF90 Fiorano, and
you said when we were doing the dates, you're like, yes, and I'll have driven a few things by then.
and I might be jet lagged, but I'll be there.
Yeah.
So if you're seeing the bags under my eyes,
Wait, did you
that's
just
where
get
that's from.
back?
No, I came back on Sunday.
But still,
yeah, but
still it's
deadlines,
fresh.
this stuff piles up.
Oh man, well for
sure.
Thanks for making time for it and everything
Dude,
too.
are you kidding?
I didn't realize how much you traveled again because I met you during COVID when everyone was sort of restricted.
Right.
So I didn't realize. I guess I didn't realize much. Well, moving on. So it's one of the questions I was going to ask you on here was about press cars, but it seems like you kind of answered it in that you got into the world of press cars almost by accident by answering this ad, and like it was already lined up for you because they had this setup. From there, did you then make your own relationships? I asked John for backstory real quick.
Yeah.
Don't want to make it all about me.
Yeah.
We only have the one car these days. When we bought Yellow Car, it was our fourth car. But it's our only car these days, so it's one car to do it all. And we are going to bring it into the shop to do a lot of stuff to it soon.
Very nice.
So we're going to need to rent a car or something. We're not Uber people. I don't
Can't
want
wait
to put
to
her
hear
in a
about
cab.
that.
About Yellow Car 2.0?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be more than happy to tell you about it. I'm pretty excited if you couldn't tell.
Excellent.
But more on the lines of, this might be an opportunity to not so much get into the press car world that you guys all are, but like I do have an awful lot of friends who like can get just a cheap car not from a rental car agency, just by like when somebody comes into town and they're a journalist, they have a car set up for them so that they drive that car while they're in town and then they write something about it.
It's a currency. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, how do you get your creative currency out there to be seen so that you could then go get some sort of a loaner car during this type of period where your one car to do it all might be in the shop for some sponsored material?
Well, what I did, and I knew nothing about this world, but it turns out I must have done something right, like you said. I cold called manufacturers, and I just said, and I can get you contacts. You don't have to cold call, but we'll talk later.
Luckily, we know a lot of people, but I also don't want anybody like Johnny Lieberman. He's like, "Why are you asking?" And I was like, "I don't want to I'm not that guy. I don't even have any interest. First of all, I don't even like new cars. Like, I don't want to tread on anybody else's thing. And look at what we do. We do our own thing. You know what I mean? But I don't want to tread on anybody else's. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I feel like it seems to be a tricky situation to navigate, and everybody has a fishy answer about it. Like everyone's got their contacts, and nobody really wants to talk and share.
I'll tell you what the car makers want. They always want an ROI. There's always something that they're not a rental company. They want something out of it.
Sure.
And everybody brings something different. A lot of it is journalistic coverage in terms of magazines or websites or whatever. Sometimes it's informational. Like I'm a member of the Motor Press Guild. I'm also a juror for North American Car of the Year. And as a juror, like there's a long list of nominees that you have to evaluate to whittle down to pick what eventually become Car of the Year, Truck of the Year, SUV of the Year. So that happens to give me a lot of exposure to those cars. But there's also layers within the relationships with magazines. I write for Porsche Panorama. I do a lot of features for them. And oftentimes, of course I'll drive the car that I'm writing about, but oftentimes to know how it relates to the lineup, it's good to drive the sister car or, something related that's not it, and then contextually it makes you a better journalist to drive different things for comparison contrast. So,
Right.
there's layers to it, but,
Well, the backstory is, again, even further. When I was a kid, I was the kid who went and test drove every possible car that was out. I lived in an area that had a lot of money, so I was I drove 993s when they were new. Like,
Nice.
You know what I mean? And other cars like the Viper when it came out, it was a $65,000 expensive car.
so you just went to the dealership and were like,
Yeah.
I want to drive it?
Yeah, all the time. Well, all the time.
I love
And
that.
I always showed up in I had an E30 M3 an E30 325, whatever, something at the time. It was the kind of it's probably his family's probably rich. It was
Right.
It was like nobody ever. A kid my age absolutely could have maybe done something where I grew up. So it was like you didn't want to. They took the chance. They always took
Yeah.
the chances. So yeah, I drove everything. But the point being, car matchmaker, that Spike Ferriston show that he had, I was like that as a kid. I test drove all the cars,
Yep.
from Dodge Neons to Audis to BMWs, everything. And then I would tell my parents' friends what to buy whenever they were
Yep.
in the market for or whatever. And I'm like, well, I drove the Lexus, but you probably want the Infiniti because of whatever the fuck. And the truth is, that's never ever changed in my life. I just don't
Yeah.
drive all of the brand new cars anymore.
Relatable.
But everybody asks me. I'm the guy everybody talks to in my whatever circle. And not like I'm the be-all, end-all answer, but people get my opinion. So it's one of those where it's just become... It's happening again because I'm in the car world more than I ever used to be. And it would be nice to be able to back that up. I drive so many cars up at Breakfast Club, other people's cars, personal cars. Sometimes I'm lucky enough to actually drive press cars when people bring them up, and there's an associate from a representative there who can approve it. Well, you know what it's like. You got to be careful.
I totally know, yeah.
And again, I'm trying to tread around all this so lightly, but I'm also very curious about the information because I don't know how it works. And I guess that's what it comes down
maybe it's
to.
a sponsorship thing. Maybe you need a sponsor. Maybe you need a car maker to be a partner with you. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out
That's
there.
not a bad idea.
Yeah, we should talk. We should talk later.
Interesting. All right, back to
but
you.
yeah, when I was a kid, I was also the guy who would tell my parents what car to buy. This is good. This is not good. And my way of scratching that itch when I was in college, I went to UCLA. I took a weekend job valet parking cars.
Oh,
because
same thing.
They used to do did you work for Chuck Pick by any chance?
No, I was never a valet guy, but it was the same experiences. All my friends who didn't have the experiences I had driving these nice cars, they got the 5 minutes in them working at the restaurant doing the valet
exactly,
thing.
yeah,
Roman down in Westport, Connecticut. All of his car experiences are either his dad at the country club with some friend or whatever, or the guy at the valet. Yeah. And they drove a lot of really cool cars, but they didn't get to drive any of those cars.
Oh, this was a half mile, quarter mile.
Yeah.
But it was like big Hollywood parties, like Muhammad Ali's house and, Ray and Wendy Stark's house. And so there was some good machinery to have tiny little experiences in. Yeah.
Wow.
It was fascinating.
I'm telling you about Dodge Neons and stuff like that.
Like mechanically, it was fascinating, but culturally, to climb inside somebody's private space just for a moment, there's a lot to take in those moments. What does it smell like? What's in the glove box?
Right.
What radio is or what music is on the radio?
Right. Why is the steering wheel?
Exactly. It's very personal. It's weird. Cars are weirdly personal. We don't really think about it because it's we wear our own clothes, we go into our own cars, but when you get into other people's cars, it's a trip.
It's so funny. I've never thought about that, but you're 100% right.
Yeah.
I was never a valet guy. I can't imagine what that part would be like. I worked at the car dealerships, and I couldn't stand getting into people's cars to go take them to the used car corner to get them evaluated. Oh God! For all the reasons you're talking about, this is a car they no longer deem acceptable for their lives. They're trying to replace it right now today with me. So I'm like, oh.
And then, I don't know about you, but if it's a press car, I have no problem using it how it's meant to be used. But people's personal cars, I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and especially up there because of that road where we drive. Just because you don't know, something might look like it's in good nick, but it's somebody else's car. Are all the lug nuts tight? I don't know. I don't know.
There's so many, anything could happen.
But you're mainly brand new press cars and stuff. You don't have to deal with what I do on what are you driving today?
Yeah, they do. The car industry does a really good job of smoothing everything out. I've spied guys dropping off the car like a half block away from my house, detailing it so that when they pull it up, there's not a smudge on it. They're really particular.
I know
about
what you
that.
mean. They pull it out of the truck, then do the detail, then pull it up to the whatever
Yeah,
the
and it's
place.
made me OCD about my own stuff because, like, if you're so used to getting cars constantly, it's like being in a hotel. Like every time you
Oh.
go back to your room, it's made. You better get used to that clean room because
Yeah.
the laws of entropy are different, You don't think about it until you have to do it yourself. You're like, crap, this is a pain.
How do we maintain this?
Yeah,
it
how
looks
did-
so easy.
The glass is dirty on both sides. No.
My God, it's so true.
The real world is harsh, man. I'm telling you. Which leads me to my silver beast
Yeah,
downstairs.
let's talk about what's downstairs.
Because I don't need a car. Like I've had multiple cars at a time that I owned.
Hang on. The backstory, just for context for people. We have a thing. Most people park on the street and then they come in. But you said, but we have a VIP underground entrance. And I go, you said, hey, I'd like that. And I said, no problem at all. But you said, I just picked up a big German behemoth. And in my mind, I thought something new press car, and I'm thinking, oh, it must be like that new X7 or something. I couldn't think of what German big behemoth could it be, and tell everybody what it was.
So I, perhaps foolishly, I don't know. I've been obsessed with these for so long. I finally had to scratch this itch of getting a W140 Mercedes-Benz. So this is a 1993 400 SEL. 17 feet long, 4,600 pounds, double pane glass.
Looks bulletproof.
The last of the truly over-engineered Mercedes-Benzes. So I've been crazy about these kinds of cars for a long time, and they look dumb. They look like
No, if
my.
car guys think they're cool.
I think they're super cool. I'm getting the dumb part from my wife, who has been drilling it into my head because
Car's so
she does
stupid.
not get it. Oh my God, she hates it. She's like, what? She drives a Fiat 500e, so she loves small, cute
Oh,
Italian.
how much did you say it weighs?
4,600.
It's actually less than I would have guessed.
It looks
Because
like it's
of the
3
bulletproof
tons.
glass, I would have.
It looks like
that
3
double.
tons. Yeah. It's really, it was the last of the money no object. They spent $1 billion on R&D on this car, on this
line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just insane what they did. Like it was the first car to have soft closed doors. The rear view mirror is remote operated, so you have to use a joystick.
What year is this?
93.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they were doing
Yeah,
everything. It was like
90
that was the days of the 26-way power seats. And all.
Yeah, 92 to 99. It's way overdone.
Yeah.
But that's what I geeked out over. So
Totally.
I was like, I don't need this, but I want it.
Just
It's
don't
like-
replace the wiring harness on that car, right?
Yes, until 96 was the wiring harness issue. So yeah, biodegradable.
So
Really
you're good until
good
96,
ideas.
or you're bad until 96?
They fixed the problem after 96. I
So
think
it's
we're
up to
96
you to
and on.
fix.
So yeah, we'll see this. So this car was funny because like I said, we all fantasy shop for cars, but this one actually, I was driving up Sierra Madre near where I live, Sierra Madre Avenue, and there is this car with a for sale sign on it, and it took me a month of negotiation to get this little old lady from Pasadena to agree on a price because it was her she was the only owner, and her other car is a late model V12 sedan, and she stopped driving this one when she got her V12. So like this is the kind of person you want to buy a car from, right? But it was so unplanned. Like I literally a month of negotiation. I just had to have it though. I got really attached to it. And we'll see if it's good to me. I've had it for like 3 days. So
Oh my God! Are you?
fingers crossed.
Oh, I didn't know it was that new. Boy, this is.
It's brand new. Yeah, to me. Yeah. So I'm shaking
I
the
wish
dice.
I wish you a lot of luck with it. I have a friend who. I don't know if I should say I had a friend. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in forever, but he's a production designer. I worked with him on practice, and then he went to ER, and he worked on lots of things. But he bought one of those. This would have been like early 2000s, so it's only like 10 years old at the time. And he had it shipped across. Same thing, like found the
It's gonna be
thing.
a horror
Was looking
story.
for. No, it was great. Well. No, it ended up needing more than he thought it
worried.
did. Yeah. No, but it ended up being the cool retro sedan that he wanted it to be. His was like black on beige. It was like more of like it looked more like a bad guy's car from a movie. Yours is like yours could fit in traffic. It doesn't look like the Russian mob. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, ish.
Well,
Yeah.
once you zoom in and you see the double pane glass and everything, it's like, oh, whoa.
Well,
The bank teller vault.
I have an obsession with Luxo barges. I love the idea of something that is like you're so insulated in this safe space, and it's so dialed in for comfort. It's so dialed in for long distance, and it's the opposite of my other vehicle, which is a 1963 Land Rover Series 2A, which will beat you up like crazy because it's loud. It's no aerodynamics, no protection from the elements. It's open air. It's slow.
Is that
it's-
one, The Gods Must Be Crazy?
Yeah,
Put it up in the tree?
Yes.
So you know that one.
Yeah. So it's opposites, and I love having all ends of the spectrum taken care of.
What's your favorite, if you had, maybe it's this one, I'm guessing, with what you had to go through to get this car. What is your favorite of the Luxo barge variety? Because I can think of a few other ones that I like maybe even more than this.
I was obsessed with Bentley Turbo Rs for a long time.
Oh, well, that's, you're going big. Okay.
And I had,
Gotcha.
well,
All right.
yeah, you're really dumb in terms of like exposure because they always need a lot of money and a lot of maintenance. I've almost bought one several times and probably been lucky to not have fallen down that rabbit hole.
I would think so. It's like getting a Phaeton, right? Like
But
it's a
that's
really
like,
cool idea, but
it's
like
way
to keep
worse.
it running is
way worse.
But I mean the idea of it, right?
Yeah, it's an airplane on four wheels.
Well, so what one that might be a little bit easier to maintain? I always like the reason I'm asking the A8. I always really like the A8 a
A8s
lot.
are great.
The S8 specifically was, Ronin. Like I thought that was.
But if you're gonna
badass.
go full bore, like I would say V12, and the A8 was W12, which just like the mystique is a little bit diminished for me.
So do you go BMW or Mercedes at that point?
I'd probably go Mercedes
Yeah.
because that M120 engine that ended up in the Pagani, Zonda, the
Bulletproof.
block, 6-liter, it's just so bulletproof. And then have you seen these YouTube videos where they put straight pipes on them?
No. Oh. But I've seen movies like that where they go out the hood and everything with it.
Well, no, they sound like F1 cars with straight pipes.
Oh no shit. Oh, because
Yeah,
it is an F1 motor.
Equal
Yeah, sure.
length, equal length headers, and it's just like.
Oh wow.
Check it
Yeah,
out.
I'll check it out.
It's amazing. And then like they do this in Japan. They drive through tunnels at midnight and
Light
like
it up.
it's a whole other. Yeah. Speaking of rabbit holes, I think that'd be the way to go.
What's a rabbit hole for you? Like, what do you plug in one thing and then you just go down the
geez.
YouTube hole?
Wow.
And that may be a new question for this show because that.
What is a rabbit hole for
That's a
me?
good
That's a really good one. I don't know why the Mercedes-Benz thing lately has been like W123s, like those old diesels that are indestructible.
Okay.
Like just the extremes of engineering to me. I don't know.
Oh, I like that. The extremes of engineering.
Yeah. And it's like why F1 is fascinating, especially from bygone eras.
Always pushing the limits.
Always pushing the limits, like high revving, high revving 10-cylinder, 12-cylinder naturally aspirated engines with manual shifters.
Yes.
Like, the
And
qualifying.
crazy people with their heads sticking out the whole time.
Yeah, Senna qualifying in Monte Carlo was formative. Watching that video, just like going deep.
I'm trying to think of what you're talking about. I know
Monaco, sorry.
Monaco. No, but
Yeah.
I knew what you meant. It is Monte
Yeah,
Carlo
yeah.
still. I don't know what video you're talking about though.
There's an in-car. You have to.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do know exactly what
Yes.
you're talking about, and it is frantic. Was the only word I can think.
Yeah,
Frantic.
he's on fire, obsessed. That stuff is great. I mean,
That was more. It was as impressive it was to see what the person was capable of. It was equally as impressive to me to see where we were technologically to be able to capture it, for us to be able to see that, because it was like before GoPros and stuff.
it's a minor miracle. I mean, we've all seen the picture of like Steve McQueen with like the Super
the
8
whole
camera.
yeah, well, it's got all the lenses and everything.
It weighs like 35 pounds strapped to his head.
Yeah.
Like we don't know how
Sir,
easy we
Sir
have
Sterling
it.
Moss too. I remember him getting driving shots with one of those things.
Yeah, the fact that we have the telemetry and that we can pick our camera angles now and see like constant feeds of like 5-6 Gs or whatever, like crystal clear. It's remember seeing the temperature on the tires, like the graphical representation of
Yeah.
how the temperature comes into all this stuff is like it's great, but like have some respect for like the past. You know,
Yeah.
that stuff is amazing. What they did.
I go to Paramount Ranch. Is all my brain thinks of those guys whipping around those cars in open cockpits at Paramount Ranch. I mean, a lot of them died and stuff. It was dangerous as fuck. But I mean, like the fact that they were all doing it, no guardrails, no seat belts, no nothing, driving gloves and goggles,
Yeah.
open-faced helmets. I
Yeah.
mean, what is that going to do?
Well, God bless Sir Jackie Stewart for saving, you know, highest forms of racing from continuing to lose many people every year.
Do you mean because he was such a
He
figure?
was a safety advocate, and yeah,
Oh.
he was very adamant about, you know, this is not okay. Like we, you know, took it for granted back in the 50s and 60s or whatever, but like, you know, up until then, it was culturally acceptable to.
So he's
to
a
die.
vocal proponent for that? I don't
yeah.
know if I realized
Yeah,
that. I think of Niki Lauda, obviously, for the obvious reasons.
He really rounded up the efforts to bring attention to it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, look at you teaching me stuff. I love learning.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know
bring
if
you
you
books
can tell
next
that from
time.
me. I'm
I
such
got
a-
books.
I'm such a curious person by nature that I love learning. I'm not. If you
Okay.
can't tell, I'm just like really curious all the time.
On Friday, I will bring books with me.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
Do I need a Basem library card where like
No,
checking
man,
these out?
it's not lending; it's giving.
Oh, are these your books?
Yeah, I'll bring you
Oh,
my
I'd
books.
love
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
I'd love to have your books. Yeah,
Totally,
of course. I was like, it's like educate me. He's like, I'll take you to Basem School. It'll be fine.
I will bring you heavy tomes that are leather bound for your
I have
for
many
your for your
leather-bound books.
knowledge.
Kind of a
Yes.
big deal. Your YouTube channel. I didn't know about it until you sent me the link,
It is
so I just
languishing.
subscribed.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It is languishing because I've gotten pulled in so many different directions. But
It's not. The videos on it have like 100,000 views, but then there's not that many subscribers on the channel.
I should do more. I should do more with that. As my wife reminds me, we've got all these videos in the can from stuff that we've done together in driving and her getting terrified in these cars, and they just need to be edited. Do you know a good editor?
I do. I know an editor anyway, a former editor. I can't afford any of the editors I used to use. That's the truth of it. You know, once you're out of the business and the favors kind of drive, like, oh, you got to pay these people. Like, oh, gee whiz. Hang on a second.
And it adds
That's
up too.
You know how it is in our business.
It does
Yeah.
add up. Yes.
If you
Even without the union rate, it adds up.
100%, but I was going to say, if you're used to a certain quality of like whatever, yeah, you got to frickin' pay for it and then some.
Yeah, because that guy that knows the guy who kind of knows what he's doing.
He's
really
got a
doesn't know what
van.
he's
He
doing.
could pick it up for you.
Yeah. Nope. I know that deal. Gone down that road. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
What is your most interesting? Oh, hang on. By the way, I got to. We've had some comments on YouTube here. Pete McNulty would like to know if you've ever hit a deer in a press car.
Funny you should ask, Pete McNulty. Oh boy. Well,
What's the answer?
you know, I never thought deer were going to be really an issue in California. The one time I almost hit a deer before that was in Montana in my 911 SC, and it was
in your own car?
weird, right?
No, I mean versus a press car. Well, that would
Yeah,
suck.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
in
it would
Montana, at least back in the day, there used to be no speed limit. So I'm guessing you were ripping.
Yeah,
in your
no,
own
I was not
Porsche.
ripping. We were staying at a friend's place, driving the car cross country because I bought it in Florida and wanted to bring it back home. And I went out for an afternoon drive because they were barbecuing and we had this like lovely time. And I was shocked at like A, how you don't see them coming, and B, how fast they are. So I was like, I see why this is an issue now. This is scary.
It doesn't make sense until you've experienced it.
It doesn't make sense until
When
you
somebody goes, "I
experience
didn't hit a deer. The deer hit me." Like, okay, buddy.
it. Yeah, exactly. I do insist that the second time around it hit me. I'll tell you why.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. So fast forward 20 years or whatever it's been. Maybe not 20, but it's been a minute. McLaren 620R. Hell of a car, by the way. Wow.
It was beautiful.
It's
Most of it made it up to Breakfast Club.
Yes. It spoke to me until it didn't. We're cruising down 9 Mile, and Johnny was behind me, and I think, I want to say, Misha was behind me in a Lamborghini. Johnny was behind me in maybe a Ferrari. I can't remember.
But you guys were definitely the trifecta.
It was a speed parade, yes. Not that I was exceeding the speed limit. I didn't say that.
55, stay alive, just like the rest of us.
Always. By the books. In my peripheral vision, I see this shape. And by the time I can react, which is just literally nudging it this way, but at that speed, this way goes quite a ways. Boom. I heard this thing behind me. and I pulled over. I saw it actually pirouetting in my rearview mirror. It was horrifying. And spinning on the pavement.
No, I know. I know.
Sorry.
I mean, we saw the aftermath, so I know exactly what
Sorry,
happened.
animal lovers, but this
brutal.
happened. If you scroll
Brutal.
down my Instagram feed, you can see some pictures. The last one's really gross. But anyway, I warned everybody. Didn't put it up front. I pulled over, and the 3/4 panel is dented. The air intake is smashed up.
There was a whole carbon scoop that
Yeah,
was
the
missing.
scoop was off, and
Like
there was
you
fur.
collected it, but it wasn't on the car.
There was fur embedded between the tire and the wheel. Like, it was violent.
That doesn't sound like it makes sense, but you said that exactly correct.
I have pictures.
Yeah, no, and I remember seeing it. It doesn't sound right, though, but it's exactly what you said is what happened. The fur was wedged between the rubber and the rim.
Yeah.
Literally sticking out. Like when I hit a deer with my 944 turbo, when I was a kid, it was between the windshield and the top of the top of the roof line.
And this is on the East Coast?
East Coast. But same thing, that deer hair just sticking out. Tufts of deer hair just sticking out.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen it since until your wheel.
You're like, that looks familiar.
Yeah, it did. It totally did. Totally did.
But yeah, I always thought it was an East Coast thing. It didn't happen here. But, you go back to the crest, you see there are signs with deer on them,
It's almost every week you see a deer and or somebody who hit a deer.
Yeah, so I also ride up the crest quite a bit, which terrifies me for that because, the cage is a lot safer. Let's just leave it at that.
Did you start in motorcycles before cars, or?
No, I had always ridden motorcycles, like my friends' motorcycles as a kid. Like, we rode mini bikes and I
cool.
borrowed motorcycles. But by the time I was almost 30, I was like, you know what? I got to make this legit. I got to get my license because I do love them, and I always wanted to get into it really deep, but I hadn't. So, I bought a bike, I got the license, and I went in deep, and that became a whole other rabbit hole that I still love.
And you do the press bikes as well, too, right?
I do press bikes as well.
Yes, slick. Because it totally opens up. I mean, it's just so smart. So smart. Now that I'm understanding this world and seeing how it unfolds and seeing how one thing kind of flows into the other. Like, everything's really very interconnected, even though it doesn't seem like it. It looks like different pockets, but everybody knows everybody, and one thing flows into the other.
It really is. And that's why it's like owning something personally is a challenge, because you're so spoiled with these press cars. The insurance is paid for, and they come with a full tank of gas magically every time, and they're always clean. But you gotta have some of your own stuff to fuel your real passion and have a feeling of this is what I love too. I love these things, and I need to nurture that. Otherwise, I love new cars, but the soul is not the same as having something that's your own, that's got a history. And I love classics. I love older stuff.
What's your favorite? If you had to pick a favorite mark and or a favorite car from that mark, what would it be?
Porsche has always spoken to me as a real world car that I can actually own. I've driven a lot of really high dollar stuff from other car makers like McLaren and Ferrari and Bugatti that I love.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong, but in terms of vibing with something that you live with every day, that you can justify, I could put my kid in the back of a 911. I could get groceries with it. I love 911s. I've owned an SC. I've owned a 993. There's more I want. I'd like a 986 Boxster for fun. I'd like to have one of those.
Yeah. Great
'cause
time.
They're so pure. I know. Now's the time. This W140 might not last very long if I find the right Boxster.
I'm just thinking the moment Magnus has. Have you seen Magnus lately? His sneaker thing, we told him was going to be a bigger deal than even he really realized. And when we saw him the other day, I think that we were right. And I'm curious how this is going to parlay into all of his other stuff. So I don't remember how the hell why did I even start bringing it? How did we get to Magnus?
986.
Oh yeah, that's right. So thanks, Basem. Really glad you're
I'm
here.
here to help.
You're a killer.
That's what I'm here
co-host.
for. That's what I'm here for.
It's one of the cars on season 2 of Next Big Thing. Now, his first season of Next Big Thing was big enough that it got an immediate season 2. I have a feeling now with this Nike thing, he's got a whole nother audience that we're now bringing to anything Magnus attaches to.
Yeah.
He got way bigger overnight.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see. So anyway, get that Boxster before his damn episode comes out, because They
who
aren't
knows
gonna get
what'll
left.
happen. Yeah, no, they're
and it's
they,
such a goddamn good car for no money
they
right
can
now.
only go up, and they're so
Yeah.
underappreciated. It's like how could such a great car be 10 grand?
It won't be that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember the 996? 996 was
Yep.
that way. You
Oh.
could buy one with like needed everything for $5,000.
Well, that
and
was
a
more-
perfect runner for 10.
That was more of an uphill battle for 996 too, because everyone was actively hating them. So like
As long as it's not the fried egg headlight one.
right, no, it's like come on.
I'd take that in a heartbeat. And look at the GT3 variant.
Oh yeah,
Good Lord.
yeah, it's crazy.
Everyone's like, that's the best Porsche there's ever made. Holy crap.
It's
The one with
crazy.
the bad headlights that you couldn't look at a couple years ago?
Right. That thing that everyone hated, that you were cool to hate with, like it made you cool. Yeah,
Time,
totally.
man.
Totally.
Time's an illusion.
Perspective. We kept talking about perspective. Comes back to perspective. Context too.
Context is a very important thing.
What is great in its time, and may not be
Bill
state,
Cosby.
state of the art now.
In the 80s,
What
guy
a
was selling Jell-O pudding to kids.
that is a reversal of fortune. That is the best. That is like the platonic ideal of reversal
He
of
was
fortune.
literally, you could trust your kids with Bill Cosby, no problem.
Well, OJ too. Like
He's another one. Frickin' Nordberg. Who wouldn't trust lovable Nordberg?
exactly. Oh man.
Oh man, what movie was he in? He was well, he's in a lot of movies, I guess. But back in the day, was he in one of the airport
Was
movies?
it Naked Gun or something?
For sure, the Naked Gun. But
Yeah.
back in the day, before he was like he was an
And
actor
he
back
was
in the
in
'70s
he was
too.
in the Hertz ads or the Avis ads.
Yeah, you're right.
Running through the airport.
You're 100% right. I think it
Right.
was Hertz. God, that's so funny.
Yep.
OJ and Bill. This is the OJ and Bill Cosby show. Everybody tune in. Talk about OJ and Bill Cosby with Basem Wasef. Is there anything that we should be talking about that we didn't? Or it's time to kind of think about wrapping it up. But I know that we bounced all around and it wasn't very formal. But is there anything you wanted to make sure that we talked about or no?
I don't have anything particular to plug, but I'm really interested in the idea of we had this whole. We're looking back at this whole year, almost year and a half of resetting and what we were doing and how we realized that we might have been doing things differently than we wanted to do them. And, I'm curious about how you want to look at the next section of time.
Ooh.
Is there anything different that you're going to do now that we're sort of on this next phase? Tell me.
We're a little bit I haven't thought as much about it, but I will say that we're a little bit unique in that what everyone else went through a year and a half ago, call it whatever, April or whenever it first started, March of 2020, whatever everyone else was slapped in the face with of, holy crap, our life, we already had that. It already happened to us a couple years earlier where everything we thought was normal wasn't, and we had to blah, 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 and all of a sudden we can't go out, and we had to start working from home, and everything that happened to everybody else during COVID happened from the restrictive life, getting I don't know what you would call it, the downsizing your life maybe.
Yeah.
So that during the whole COVID time, it almost felt like everybody else equalized to the frequency and vibration that we were at for a spell. Mm-hmm. Now that everyone else is ramping back up and things are open and the world is on, I don't know how we fit into that because we can't keep up with that. We sort of got a little more popular when everyone was down at our level. Uh-huh. If they're going to run away and go do whatever the world stuff is, I don't know. I think it's going to be truly a day by day we figure it out. I'm hoping that we can find a way to keep doing what we're doing that fits into the new world. You know what I mean? When all the other talk show hosts went back to their studios and we're still home in the dining room, I don't really know. I don't want to lose sight of all the values that we've learned through this process, though.
That's what I'm coming back to too.
But it's I guess the point is then we're going to be exactly the same because whatever everyone else is, we already did that and we've maintained.
And that's a beautiful thing. I
Thanks.
think it really is. Yeah.
That was a really wordy way to say it. I feel out of sorts today. I'm sorry.
No, man, it's great. I love it. I love hearing other people's perspectives because you just don't know. I didn't know you guys until I was introduced to you guys, and then your whole story is fascinating. And this, is
she's got
fascinating.
MS. You know all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But we used to be like Hollywood people who were out and about and doing stuff, and popular and stuff like that. And she used to be with really big celebrities on the road 40 weeks a year, running their lives and schedules and stuff, and not schedules like that, but their press schedules and everything. And it just really, really sort of like high energy, high frequency shit.
Yeah.
And we always kind of felt like when we couldn't do that anymore, we were like, well, nobody will ever hear from us again. And then we started a podcast, and here we are. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't
So
know.
I got to ask you, this set, like, how did you reach critical mass where you're like, we need to make a space? And how did you do this?
I would call this critical mass, wouldn't you? Should I go to the wide shot here? So what happened here was, I mean, we started it as a podcast with the husband and wife at a dining room table with a couple microphones from Amazon. You know what I mean? Just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And then we started having our Porsche friends in and just having conversations and stuff. And then after only a couple months of that, we got access to the original David Letterman stuff here. And because of my backstory with that became a much bigger deal than we thought it would in the beginning. And
how did you, like, how did this fall into your lap?
We got it from the show gave it to a museum in the 90s,
Uh-huh.
and we got it from that museum 2-3 years ago.
Wow.
It never got displayed. They gave them the whole set over the 20 years or whatever. They what's the word they used? Deaccessioned almost all of it. The only parts they had left were the desk and chairs.
Mm-hmm.
I had the microphone already. So we put it together. But anyway, when the stuff first arrived, it looked ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous. The stuff hasn't changed, but I mean, if you were to take these lights and the rest of this stuff out of here, this stuff just looks ridiculous. It doesn't belong anywhere, let alone in a home.
It's a period piece.
Yeah, and it's like weirdly arty at that. Meanwhile, it didn't look that way on the show, and I'm looking at pictures, and I'm like, well, what's the deal? I'm like, oh, well, they lit it in all these different ways. So I was like, well, I'll let it. And then we got this room, and then one thing led to another.
Once again, down the rabbit hole.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
One thing led to another. If you watch the show, it doesn't. This was not on paper and like, boom, we're going to do this one day.
Uh-huh.
It just, like the blob, it just kept eating whatever was in its way and getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
I love it.
And when COVID hit and we couldn't go out and do anything else, I was like, well, I mean, why wouldn't we? Thought we'd be moving to a real studio by now. If we're not, let me make this as good as I can, because otherwise people don't know what we're really capable of in here.
This is a real studio. Tell the audience at home, in case they don't know.
Thanks, man. You're amazing, and you're one of those people who really makes me feel good whenever I see you. So I just want to say thanks.
Oh, the feeling is mutual. Thank you for having me.
It means a lot. Means a lot. Not everybody is like that. So whatever
Thank
that is,
you.
it's good. Keep
Thanks.
doing it.
You too, man.
How do we follow you? It's just your name.
My name, Basem Wasef, Basem Wasef. Yes.
Follow that on Instagram. Is it the same thing on YouTube?
It is, yes.
So it's everything pretty much the same.
Pretty much.
And then if people want to read your work, they should look in all of these different places.
They should Google me. I mean, I have some links in bio in Instagram, but yeah, I'm very Googleable. There's stuff out there. There's always new stuff coming. There's a Ferrari review that's coming tomorrow to Motor Trend. So yeah.
Awesome. And it sounds like there's a lot of stuff in the hopper too, because you have videos on YouTube that you haven't put up yet.
There will be a next Critical Mass coming soon. Yes. Karnak the Magnificent says.
Oh yeah, Piggly Wiggly.
Exactly.
Are you going to come up to Breakfast Club tomorrow? No, not tomorrow. Friday. Sorry, I wish it was Thursday. What's happening?
Good chance.
Okay.
Hopefully, yes.
There's no pressure.
Books in tow.
There's no oh yeah, that's right. There was no pressure. All right, so we've gotten through the show. We've done the commercials. Here's the guest. We've done that. The thank yous and follows. We have done that. Oh, and also please follow the new YouTube channel. What are you driving today? Thanks to David and Alex for putting that together. Alex, of course, from the local wardrobe union. Probably knows your wife. Let's see. Thursday, we are back with Catherine DeLorean, daughter of John DeLorean and my sister in life. This is an exclusive to us. She's not talking to anybody else, but there has been a lot of DeLorean news since we have talked to her last. A number of DeLorean movies have come out. She was very public and vocal when Framing John DeLorean came out. We're going to talk about that, as well as her childhood. Probably some stuff about the car, although I don't really care about that because that's not what we're about. Although Fireball was here the other day and said we needed to talk about the four-door DeLorean, so I will ask her about that. Catherine DeLorean here on Thursday. Good vibes after that. Thank you so much, Basem, for being here. We really appreciate it. Love you, brother. We love you. I love you. We love you. Basem and I love you. It's true. We do love you.
We're feeling love.
We love everybody on Instagram. Love everybody on YouTube. Have a lovely evening.
stuff, man.